This is fascinating. Just more and more evidence keeps pouring in for the Great Awakening. An independent researcher found this on Google Earth and they just posted it yesterday. I'm sure most of you are familiar with him. Let me scoot it down. It's Mr. MBB333. Man finds evidence of a supermassive tree with leaves longer than the Empire State Building. Just the leaves. The leaves are longer than the Empire State Building. Wrap your mind around that. And I know it's unbelievable. I get it. I get it. It's crazy, but it's true. And I bring this up because it goes along with the video series I did, The Biggest Secrets Hidden in Plain Sight. And I did one all on the archaeological evidence of the first Earth Age, where it was not just dinosaurs. There were massive trees, massive plant life, literal titans like our ancestors recorded being around during the first Earth Age. So I did a series on that, and this is yet another piece of evidence brought forward by Mr. MBB333. And I know I cite him a lot, but that's because he's such an awesome resource. He really is an intellectual. He is a scholar. Although he is in alternative media, he deals with fact-based science. His website, he tracks all of the UVA and UVV, UVC rays. He has meters out in his yard. He has people, a network of people all over Earth who are sending in, showing the actual meter readings, keeping an eye on what's happening on Earth. All the seismographs from every single nation, not just our USGS, which hides data and, controls the narrative. He has all the seismographs from all the other nations all on his website where you can actually go and get real data. So he's an awesome resource, and that's why I cite him so much. But it was him. He doesn't talk about this type of thing at all, really. So it was exciting to see him get on board with this and say that he believes he's found evidence of this massive tree from ancient times. So I'm going to play just like 30 seconds or a minute clip from his 15-minute video. And as always, I will put the links below so you can go and watch his whole video where he goes into depth about it. But I'm just going to show a few seconds of it right here.
I still can't believe I'm looking at what I'm looking at. But I found this on Google Earth. I found it yesterday. And I've done a lot of extensive research on this particular, well, it's a stump. That's what you're looking at. And I have confirmed that this is a tree stump. But there's more. There is proof not far away that this was once a very tall tree. I can prove it. But first I want to give you a little bit of detail on just how big this tree stump is. And that's what we're looking at. I'm 100% sure this is a tree stump, okay? I've seen these before. In fact, one came through my feed on YouTube the other day where they were showing in a video a 2-mile wide tree stump. And, I get it. It's hard to wrap your mind around something that big. I mean, we think a 200-foot tall tree is really big. These things here are in a whole nother universe. I mean, they're huge. Let me show you just how big the base of this tree is. I'm just going to give you a rough measurement from, let's say, here to here. You're looking at 7 miles. I know, but wait. Wait till you see the leaves. That's right. I found leaves and branches. So, here we go. There's the stump, right? Hold on, it gets better. These are branches of what look like some sort of a cedar tree. See the branches? And those are, I don't know if you call those leaves on a cedar. What do you call those? This would be the branch. And you can see all the extenders coming off the branch. Some sort of a giant cedar tree.
Here's that full video that I made on it. It's about 25 minutes. If you go over to my page, it's under the Biggest Secret series, Mind Blowing. It's a playlist. And you might actually even want to watch the first one if you haven't already about the rocks. And that talks about the fossilized, I mean, giants, like 3 Mile High giants and crazy stuff. But anyway, the second one, another huge secret hidden in plain sight, giant trees, that one, that's the one that discusses all of this. And I show tons of other examples of exactly what he's talking about and the scientific evidence and the cellular structure and tons of interesting stuff. If you're into this biggest secret hidden in plain sight, this whole series is about our entire misconception about this indoctrination that we've been through and how reality is nothing like what we've been taught, and we are not where they tell us we are. Or I guess this place where we are is not what they tell us that it is, or was, or will be for that matter. So in that video, here's just a couple of minutes of things that I show. I show lots of other examples of these giant ancient tree stumps that have been found all over the world. And then I show several examples of these giant trees, like General Sherman, these giant trees that we still see, or we have pictures of that were harvested, when we first settled America in different places. And of course, these aren't as huge as the ones we're talking about here, but still, it's interesting. It's history, real history. And then I discuss the cellular structure and what we actually see in these, what we see as land formations now, but clearly these are fossilized ancient plant life. It's just unbelievable, but it's verifiable if you have an open mind. Which unfortunately, a lot of people will look at this and the evidence is right in front of their faces, but they just cannot. They are such, it's a religion that they follow these scientists that have taught them these lies. And it doesn't matter. You can show them the evidence. You can show them right in front of their face a theory that actually fits the known data, and they just will not receive it. They cannot receive it. They are so brainwashed by the mainstream that they will literally deny what they see with their own eyes to follow these mainstream pseudoscientists, these people that the cabal, the Illuminati, have set up in these universities that have indoctrinated us into their narrative about world history and about the earth and where we are and all of that. They just have blind faith in these scientists, quote unquote scientists, and I use the term loosely. They'll say anything. They can say, hey, you evolved from a rock. And it's like, well, science has never ever seen a rock come to life, no matter if you add 1 billion years or 200 billion years. And they'll say, oh, but yeah, so we add 200, but you can't fathom it because it took 200 billion years or something. And and they're like, hey, were you there 200 billion years ago to see this? Did anybody see this? No, they don't. They can't have faith in the Bible. That's hilarious. They say, oh, well, that's faith. That's a religion, right? Because it's the actual records left by our ancestors from millennia and millennia ago about how this actually came to be, about where we are and who we are. They can't believe that. Oh, because that takes too much faith. But this guy sitting in a university can regurgitate the narrative of the Illuminati to him and say, oh, no, no, there's no God. No, you came from a rock just sprung to life. And and feed them this line of absurdity, and they will fight. They will fight for their mind controllers. The people who have programmed them and brainwashed them into this mainstream narrative, they'll fight for it. And it just doesn't matter how much evidence to the contrary we show them. You guys know my thesis has always been there aren't any mysteries or anomalies. We have those words in our vocabulary because an anomaly is evidence to the contrary. It means if something is an anomaly to your worldview, that means your worldview is incorrect. There aren't mysteries. There aren't anything supernatural. It's natural. This is natural. This is nature. This is remnants of the environment that we came from, that used to be in the first Earth age. So anyway, in the video, I also show other fossils, just like Mr. MBB333 just showed, that they're all over the place. And I show more examples of those. And here's a Google Earth image that not only looks like the leaves and stuff, but this looks like, again, harkening back to the Rocks Were Alive video in the Biggest Secret series, the first one. It looks very similar, right, to what the Native Americans record in all of their art and their historic writings from thousands of years ago about these titans, or quote unquote gods, that once dwelt on the earth. So it wasn't just giant trees. The records left by our ancestors record also giant humanoids, or quote unquote gods. So I encourage you to watch that video if you're interested in this topic at all. I talk about what Eden, and the tree of life and all of that that's recorded by our ancestors in the first Earth age, that Earth was Eden, but now it's essentially a wasteland. And we think that it's great because we were born into this, but we were born into a wasteland. And the captors of our souls, this hellish cabal, has ensnared us, and they tell us this is, they create this fake revisionist history, and they feed it to us in these in the re-education camps and through their social engineering programs. And I know people, it's weird to say mind control, but it's what it is. It's what it is. When I say that we are going through re-education camps, when we go through quote unquote public education, I don't mean that to be sensationalistic, sensationalism, like I'm like, oh, it's re-education camps, just trying to be reactionary or, incite anything. I'm saying it in the most literal sense of the term, in the calmest tone, in the most literal sense. I am telling you that our public education systems have become re-education camps. And now that we have social media and all of this type of thing, it's spread. The social engineering has spread. Anybody knows who travels in these circles on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, it's total censorship. We just saw all that with Zuckerberg before Congress, and they are systematically trying to censor any dissenting voices that release information outside of their constructs, outside of their mainstream narrative that we have been indoctrinated with through the public education system and the cabal universities. And there's a soft tyranny in the universities. I believe that there are scholars, many scholars, who understand the truth of Earth's history. There are people who believe in the Bible, but the soft tyranny system persecutes them. So they will lose their tenure, they will lose their jobs if they speak of it. So we're not in a good place intellectually, but I, for one, am not going to cave and say that these jerks have the intellectual high ground. They do not have the intellectual high ground. The Bible is true. That's why it's banned. That's why it's censored. That's why there's pinpoint accuracy. They don't censor the Hindu yoga in schools. No, they're doing yoga in PE class. No, that religion's fine, right? They don't censor any of the other pagan religions. They teach Egyptian mythology. Every school teaches Greek mythology. So any of those religious texts, that's fine, right, to teach in schools. But people can't see, they're like, separation of church and state, separation of church and state. Well, what you're saying is every other religion can be taught. You can teach yoga, meditation, you can teach the Egyptian mythologies, you can teach the Greek mythologies, you can teach all about Roman mythology in world history class. But you can't teach about those, 65 to 72 archaeological finds that are now bound together in what we call the book, the Bible. You can't teach those archaeological finds because that would be quote unquote religion. If you guys can't see the pinpoint accuracy of singling out one set of texts and banning them from public education, public indoctrination, you guys need to wake up. You need to wake up and you need to get your hands on one of those Bibles and you need to read it and you need to find out the truth. Because the Bible talks about all sorts of higher technologies, even things like time travel, teleportation. It explains the UFO phenomenon. It explains our the contamination of the human gene pool. It explains everything. A good place to start is right here. 5 shocking things you never knew were in the Bible. It's a 15-minute video, and I discuss like, you know, half a dozen of these amazing truth topics in that one video, and then this biggest secret series. But anyway, this is happening, you guys. It's really happening. The Great Awakening is happening. People are waking up and they are accessing information outside of the mainstream, and they're waking up. So please share these videos. Please like, share, subscribe, because you know we're all shadow banned. They won't even pop us up in the search engine most of the times. So do what you can do to spread the truth. These are exciting times we live in. Yes, they're trying times, but be brave. Hang in there. We're almost done. Stay strong. You know, there are humans who have lived throughout all ages of history who just would have been thrilled to see this era in world history. And we're the generation. If you're here right now, you're here for a reason. How amazing is that? You are here in this generation for a reason. So rise up, you guys. Rise and shine. It's our time. Rise and shine. I love you guys. God bless you and your families.